Winning is not a sometime thing, it's an all-the-time thing. You don't win once in a while, and you don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. You gotta play with your heart, with every ounce of fiber in your body. I've never known a man worth his salt who deep down in his heart didn't appreciate the grind, the discipline, and to win, and to win, and to win. It is and always has been an American seal, and that's to be first, regardless of what we do. There's no room for second place. There's only one place, and that's first place. I finished second twice in my time, and I don't ever want to finish second again. But I firmly hold that a man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment to anything he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lays exhausted on the field of battle, victorious.
Pinellas Park varsity Pee Wees in 2011 were known as an easy win for any team in the Suncoast Youth Football Conference. Sub 500 record, dismal performances game in and game out. In 2012, a new mission would be placed upon this program as the rebuilding of respect, honor, and dedication to not only football players, but parents and board members in the opposition alike. Pinellas Park would no longer be a pushover team in this division.
How you doing? My name's Mario Ortiz. I'm the Pinellas Park Thunderbird Athletic Director. We're talking a little bit today about our varsity Pee Wee coaching staff and the team that we brought this year. One of the reasons we brought on this coaching staff, we recruited them highly because of the coaching experience they bring as a staff, as well as the knowledge they bring to the kids to teach them the game. In the past, we've had some very talented teams that haven't done as well. This year, even though we felt as a league we weren't possibly as good as we were going to be because of the teams in the past, how their records had come out, with this coaching staff, we knew they would coach them up to a higher level to get them past the hump that we hadn't been able to go through. I think what showed the biggest improvement and the right decision was that players that played like on last year's team, which was a very talented team as well, did not exceed or meet even expectations, where this year with the coaching staff and how they were brought in as a team, they exceeded their expectations and played at a higher level.
Well, I think the first thing we did was we collectively got together as a staff, and we started going through the little game film we had, and then taking a look at the talent in 8-on-8, and from there, we decided that, this is a place where we want to build something. JC, we talked about it as well. I mean, you saw some good things from that there was stuff in the cupboard, and
yeah, we didn't feel that the cupboard was bare. There was talent here. We felt that some of the coaching wasn't up to the standards we thought they were underachieving. We've always played them, beat them soundly. But we knew there was good kids over there, and they used to be fighters, and somehow this division wasn't. And for the last couple of years, we dominated at Isaiah, and we felt we needed to change, and we felt that this place we could change the culture, but that was going to be the toughest thing, was change the culture.
Jim, I mean, I know you had to definitely take a look, going from having some superior offensive lines and taking a look now and seeing what you had, and we really, for that part of it, we didn't have a lot to look at, but I mean, you really, I think in the first that week at camp, we started to see, we've got some people who can move some bodies here.
Yeah, we had good kids. They had to lose weight, and he needed position training. They really needed positional training, and that's where it started. And
yeah, I mean,
do what you got to do and get it done.
And really, they had always been the old
chicken wing,
which we can't stand. But from there, and then just getting the positioning. Warren. I mean, you had the defensive backs and wide receivers, and really honed in on their skills. I mean,
yeah,
they. I think I mean, you can elaborate a little bit more, but just from the start of when you got them to.
Well, before they always liked to do like what they wanted to do. They didn't have any like assignments, and now like we taught them zone, man, and now they're actually listening, stopping people.
More direction.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the whole thing was we got together and the idea was if we can get them to buy into us now and see that this system works offensively and defensively and follow the program, you know, it was a race to 7, and that was what we were going to preach. It was a race to 7. If we can get 7 wins, we're going to get ourselves in the tournament and give ourselves an opportunity to win a championship. You know, first game we're excited. We got St. Pete and we got some footage on them, and we felt really good about it. We saw them; they really didn't do anything but one good play against Seminole in the in their JV, or excuse me, in the Jamboree, and we looked like JV ball, and we felt, I think, a little too confident walking into that. Jason,
I would agree with overconfident because you know that we had the 2 tune-up games. We played the Tampa team, then we played Lakewood, and one score in each game on broken plays or for one broken coverage. And if you went off the game tape and what we had been teaching and what we've been striving for, it looked like a great opening. We were gonna start the season on a high note. Everything was looking good. The kids were loose. Everything was taking shape, and
Yeah, we kind of broke the season down in quarters, and we thought that this was one of the games that we could get out of the first 4. We were confident that we could give St. Pete a game, and I thought we would dominate and be a close game, but I think we could, you know, get enough just to get the win, but I thought that was going to be a real good shot against St. Pete.
and a nice way to introduce ourselves to Pinellas Park and of what we do and what we've been accustomed to, and we were ready to get after them. And again, I think I could tell from warm-ups we were just feeling a little bit too good about ourselves.
As Pinellas Park prepared for St. Pete for their very first game after Jamboree, they prepared for one thing. St. Pete showed them exactly a totally different game plan. As from the very first drive, St. Pete was able to drive right down the field with ease for a score. There were many times where Pinellas Park would set themselves up for great field position with their good kick return, but in the end, they would usually go 3 and out, and St. Pete would have the ball again. Second and third quarters were no different, as St. Pete would go right down the field, whether it was a pass or a run into double coverage, and would get whatever they wanted. Pinellas Park had no answers for St. Pete's questions. When Pinellas Park did have an actual opportunity to do something offensively, they would get stymied by either penalties, runs of negative gain, minimum gain, or interceptions. St. Pete's defense would outmatch them left and right. Meanwhile, on the other side, St. Pete's playmakers were continuously making plays as they had plenty of opportunities to score for 50 or more yards in every contest that they had. Pinellas Park did have some small bursts of light as they would make it up the middle. They would get maybe 10 to 20 yards per spat, but in the end the drive would come to an end as St. Pete would give them a stop. Meanwhile, their defense would try to hold for a few plays, but in the end, those playmakers from St. Pete were able to go into the end zone with ease. There was a small bit of light for the T-Birds, as on the absolute last play of the game, there was a 65-yard run right up the middle, which spawned the shutout to be a no-go, as in the end the final score would be Pinellas Park 6, St. Pete 31.
I tell you, I woke up and I thought Sunday was Saturday and I had a nightmare. I must have called 15 different people, and I know I called all of you because I think we called and talked to each other repeatedly throughout the day. And first it was, what did we do? Oh my God. And then it was, I know I was asking them, was Aston Kutcher there? I mean, did we get punked? I mean, in 2 years haven't lost a game, and then to go out 31-6, and the way we lost was just, ouch, that hurt bad. I mean, that was a sting that we had to feel.
It's still there.
It was a bad team effort. Up to that point, we thought that we really changed the culture, but in the long run now, that was just the beginning of changing the culture, because they resorted back to their past teachings and not paying attention to what we were teaching, not staying with it. They would resort back, and once they got behind, not everybody, but a few players just, they ducked their head and didn't give it the heart that we were looking for. And then at the end of the game, one of the players, Isaac, stepped up, ran a trap, boom, next thing you know, he ran a 67-yard touchdown. And you could see that there's fire here with the team, and we discussed amongst ourselves that we were not going to lower our standards. We were going to keep them the same. They would have to just, reach the level that we expected. So after this game, it was a real eye-opener, and after 2 years with no losses, that was kind of a wow.
Yeah, I mean, we all regrouped very well, and I think the biggest thing was that we're not going to go and change our system defensively or offensively after one game, because we know in the past, I mean, that's what these guys, that's what they're accustomed to. The coaches are going to come in and change everything every week, and we said no. We know we have the formula. We have to move some parts around, and we had a bye week and we had to sit on it for 2 weeks, but
So the biggest take out of that first game was, after anger, the kids saw we never lost our composure on the sideline. We kept calling plays, we kept subbing kids the way we had practiced. We kept doing the same thing, and they never saw any quit in us. And after the game, we didn't go flog them and get stupid or walk off all mad. We did what we do. We calmed them down. We realized right away this job was a little bigger than we might have thought.
But we wanted a challenge.
And we did want a challenge, so we took the bull by the horns. We had the bye week, and we kept moving in the proper direction. And the kids saw that, we didn't give up on them, because we talked to them right away, let them know that that's not acceptable. We're not going to roll like that. And for the most part, it seems as we go forward that they bought in. And we worked just as hard in practice. We kept doing the same thing.
And if anything, the bye week, we got a good chance to let them know that that was an unacceptable way to lose. You don't lose by tucking your tail. If you lay it all out there, we can live with that and we'll be proud of you. But there is no quit anymore. Those days are over.
Pinellas is feeling very confident on their home field as they host the Northeast Bandits for their second game. And with their bread and butter run right at you offense, they were able to pound the ball right down the middle for their first score, as Northeast would not have any answer for that swarming T-Bird defense. Pinellas Park became very prepared and was ready for action this week, unlike last week, where this week they had plenty of sacks, plenty of negative yardage, and if anything, minimum yardage gained by Northeast. In many cases, those were 3 and out. Pinellas Park offense served as their own adversary this week, as penalties would negate certain yardage gains, as well as a certain touchdown in particular, which would hold them back, but not hold them away, as they were straight to the end zone every time they would get a chance. Northeast was getting banged up throughout the mid-game, which left open holes for Pinellas Park to run through. These holes were big enough for both running backs to accumulate over 100 yards a game, as Pinellas Park accumulated over 250 total yards on the ground. Northeast defense could not stop Pinellas Park's offense at no point in time in the game, as each drive would go down the field. Even on special teams, Pinellas Park served as the aggressor, as they would recover onside kicks, which would set up the defense for the Northeast Bandits to be on the field pretty much the whole game, leaving them worn out and tired, leaving Pinellas Park full of energy and ready to run the ball some more. For the first time in years, Pinellas Park varsity Pee-wees produced a shutout, and a significant shutout, as it was 16-0.
I tell you what, I was so proud of the kids. You know, they came out, they executed. I think we can all say we knew we left points on the board, but they came out and they forgot. We told them all, you have to have a short memory, and they did. I mean, you know, there was some lights out play from the defense. They did a tremendous job. I mean, the offense, the line, they answered the call, but there were some players that Northeast had that were very, very good on the defensive line that were threats to us and what we do. And you know, I think, JC, from the game plan you put together, how the offensive line did, from the way we all worked as a unit, you know, that team wanted to throw a lot.
Yeah.
Your corners were lights out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was elated to get that first one and also make it a shutout.
Yeah, and after the 2 weeks, we adjusted some assignments and some people. We changed the quarterback. We changed some running backs, some line here and there, trying to get some consistency. But again, we're trying to find the fit and find what our final team mode, what we actually were going to become. But they came out like gangbusters. I mean, we ran the ball right down their throat. It seemed to click. We did leave some points out there, but you know, Northeast fought us, and we just kept banging. And I think we found our identity that game, that we were going to be pounders in this league. So I was very pleased with that.
It was nice because everything we talked about for 2 weeks, you know, stopping their nose tackle. Their nose tackle was going to be in the backfield all day.
Yeah,
if you looked at game film, their nose tackle
job.
was tearing the other team up. And we challenged them. We challenged him. We challenged the guards. This guy doesn't make a play. And I think he might have made one late.
Downfield.
But great performance. And it showed that it'll work. It'll work. Just stay the course. Keep working hard. Practice hard. Do what we need to do. And good
I think it was
good
key
things
too
can
that
happen.
it was also a victory early in the season.
And at home.
Yes.
Viewed by parents, coaches, and kids alike, the championship before the championship, as a new rivalry has been set between the Pinellas Park T-Birds and the Azalea Bulldogs. With the smash-mouth offense of Pinellas Park, they were able to strike first with the first 40-yard run, setting up the tone for the game. End result of that drive would be a missed field goal. Though much of the first half, the defensive game plan of the T-Birds was very successful, as Azalea, known for their high-flying scoring, could not muster up a point in the first half. In the second quarter, though, Pinellas Park was able to strike first, as they were scoring over the Azalea Bulldogs, with the all-inclusive extra point kick being successful. Just like last week against Northeast, that aggressive Pinellas Park special teams was successful, stealing an offensive possession away from the Bulldogs. But as Azalea would have it, it would only be a matter of time before they developed the momentum on their own, as they piled up significant yardage in chunks as they used their size and their speed to their advantage. Though it would serve detrimental to Azalea Bulldogs and a benefit for the Pinellas Park T-Birds, penalties would push Azalea back. But even as they connected on yardages of significant proportions, they would still manage to get those yards back and more before Pinellas Park would actually provide an answer with their defense. That answer would serve as a 0-point performance in the first half for Azalea, who's used to scoring 30 and 40 points a game against these Pinellas Park T-Birds. In the second half, Azalea would not hold themselves accountable for a shutout, as the quarterback keeper untouched went 50 yards into the end zone, putting them on the board, but the all-significant extra point attempt kick was unsuccessful, leaving them still at a 2-point deficit. From then on, each team would trade possessions going from 20 to 20, creating a lot of yardage on their offensive possession, but yielding 0 points. With under 2 minutes left, Azalea had the ball last as they would accumulate yardage, trying to get that last possession to go into the end zone for the actual victory. And as time would show and wither away, it would go out of their hands as Azalea would fall victim to Pinellas Park, with the final score being 8-6 for the first victory for Pinellas Park over Azalea.
Well, for us, it was, we knew when we looked in, and Coach had said in the past, we wanted to break the season down in quarters, and we said, we got to go 2-1 at minimum. We don't want to go 1-3 in the first set. And there's sitting Azalea. They just had their first loss to St. Pete, and I think the preparation, the game plan that we put in, they immediately bought into. I mean, I was so excited for that game, just because I knew it was going to be a game and it was going to be a real test if we can get the kids to rise to the occasion. And I mean, I'm jacked to go back and play at Azalea, and let's go. Let's get after them. I mean, the opportunity is we wanted it. Let's do it.
I mean, that is the bar. Azalea's been in the championship the last 4 years. If you want to beat the best, you got to beat the best. And we knew going in, that's what it was going to be. It wasn't about us, and that's the way we preached it. It wasn't about us, but deep down inside, I can't lie. I mean, I wanted Azalea. I mean, bottom line is, we were there for 2 years, undefeated, took the championship, and we wanted to, I don't want to say payback, but wanted to show that, hey, there was doubters out there that we couldn't win here at Pinellas Park. And for all those doubters, this game was, our game plan was run right at them. We were going to play Pinellas Park smash mouth football, and if we got beat doing that, then fine. But if our kids came to play and we went at them, I thought we had a real good chance. And as it turned out, it went down to the wire the last second of the game, but an 8-6 victory was very, very sweet, and at their house, even more so. I mean, the kids just came to play lights out.
Being that it was Azalea, old home week, knowing Coach Dozier the way we all know Coach Dozier, knowing that half of that team had previously played for us as coaches, all week long we prepared because we knew there's 3 ways this game can go. Good, bad, and ugly. Because if Coach Dozier had an opportunity, if we did not show up prepared, they would have run us out of the building.
Yep.
Our ex-players would have took great joy in long striding down the field and spiking of footballs, and they would have had a great day, and they would have loved to jab Coach. Ha ha, gotcha. But going in, solid plan, defensively, offensively, we're going to grind it out. We're going to play tough football. We actually got a good end play that game.
The ends were phenomenal.
The ends, we contained Mr. Money, and we forced him to try to use other people to beat us. And the game plan was perfect. And the game plan couldn't have been executed, though, without the kids having the heart. And that's the game that the heart really showed up, where they kind of started to gel as a team and had each other's backs. And when we went out there, we played football.
That was an incredible, the atmosphere, the excitement in the stands,
Playoffs.
Yeah, it was a playoff atmosphere. I mean, the sideline was just electric, and I mean, it went down to the wire, and that's why we do this. I mean, that's why you play the game. That's why you coach the game, for those moments and to be a part of it. You know, all the respect in the world for Dozier and the
Correct.
Bulldogs, like you said, 4 years, he's set the bar. And if you want to be anyone in the varsity Pee Wee division, you got to go through him. And that's all. And that's out of pure respect for them. But you know, I think that's when these kids were starting to, these guys, you know,
Even the kids on the sideline, every first down, every change of possession, every opportunity, everybody was standing up. Everybody was in it.
to have our former players that were midgets now at Azalea behind our sideline pulling for us. I mean, it was a special week night culminating into a great celebration, and the kids deserved it because they went out and they took it from Azalea, and they have that over them forever. And those kids have never had a loss to Pinellas Park until that night.
And I think most of our kids had a win against the Bulldogs.
Exactly. So definitely a memorable night. I mean, I think the biggest thing I remember is as the nerves were going, we were at our normal place for breakfast, and I think it was JC. He said, "All right, let's go home."
Yeah.
And as we were going to head to the field, and I knew, and just chills came over me, and it was an exciting.
That was an awesome Saturday.
It was great and great time.
And I think that really propelled this team to believe in themselves, for us to really get on this stretch and really, I think they really, as a team, started to believe, yeah, we can do special things here.
Well, early, that puts us 2-1. 3 games in, 2-1. Most of these kids haven't even had a winning record in youth football.
And to think, EJ, who'd been a Bulldog for so long, gets to go back there. First play, takes it 20 yards down the field after having to hear all those kids talk and just be lights out on defense. Liam, a former come over there, won a championship, and just has them contained and on lockdown and does a great job. Second game at quarterback. For those two to be able to come back to Azalea and get that win, I know it was special for them.
They lit the fire.
Yeah.
As common saying to the victor goes the spoils, Pinellas Park would not be denied this moment, as they are the victors over the Azalea Bulldogs. With a winning record and a victory over a team that usually beats them badly, we now know the season is in good hands. Continuing on with the success of this magical season against the lowly 1-3 Clearwater Tornadoes, it appeared evident that the offense was in full swing. In this case, running yards were coming in droves as they would drive right down the field at will against this Tornado defense. Touchdowns were coming with ease. Clearwater spent most of their time on offense going 3 and out. That was what their game looked like pretty much the whole day. Meanwhile, Pinellas Park's running backs had a free-for-all amidst poor tackling the Clearwater defense, as 8 or more plays of 40 yards were seen throughout the game. Clearwater was able to spoon up a positive drive in the second half with a long passing play and eventually scoring on a touchdown. But it was called back due to a penalty and subsequently yielding 0 points on that drive. On the ensuing Pinellas Park possession, they got right back to their offensive scheme as they pounded the ball and yielded yet another big run from their running backs. In the second shutout of the season, Pinellas Park upped their record to 3-1 over Clearwater. Next on the schedule were those Countryside Cougars paying a visit to those T-Birds, as they boasted a positive 4-1 record standing in the way of those T-Birds. As the Cougars would have it, they would drive down the field and score first. But those T-Birds seemed literally unfazed as they stuck to their offensive and defensive game plan of bowling their way down the field. Right up the middle, I'm going to go at you until you stop. Eventually, Countryside would try to use their speed to go to the outside, but would yield unsuccessful to that swarming T-Bird defense. As the Smash Mouth stance would have it, they would pound their way and accumulate those big yardages right down the middle of the field for a touchdown. They would run their way directly onto the scoreboard, as Countryside would try the same thing, but would not be successful, as they would meet that swarming defense. As they continued to pile on the victories with their offense and defense, this set up a showdown with the Seminole Chiefs as the climb to the top of the SYFC Varsity Pee Wee Division was at stake. At 5-1, first place in the division belonged to Seminole Chiefs, as they came off a stellar victory in overtime against St. Pete to claim that number one spot. This team seemed to be the most all-around complete team, but outside the very first play, on the very first drive, they could not manage to put a drive to get to the red zone, as their very first drive ended with an interception. It wasn't until the second quarter that Pinellas Park was able to break free for a score. At that moment is when the momentum started to build. The ensuing kickoff, that well-known aggressive special teams was able to steal an offensive possession away from the Chiefs, followed by the next Seminole possession with another interception. Pinellas Park's running game was in full swing as they were able to make a big run all the way into the red zone of Seminole Chiefs. Though they could not punch it in, they had to rely on their defense to get them out of the jam, and then rely on that special teams to get them back into the end zone. It was at this point in time that the Seminole Chiefs would find themselves dumbfounded at how they could not manage to get a single yard inside the red zone, whether it be on the ground or through the air. Everything that they tried yielded to be unsuccessful against this Pinellas Park defense. On the opposite side, Pinellas Park was ever so elusive at getting away from the defense and go for the score, as they posted yet their third shutout, and this time against a top-tier level team, 20-0.
You got Seminole now is only one loss. They just beat St. Pete. We're scratching our heads. We've broken down all this film. We know they throw the ball. Warren has to, I'm on the phone with him, talking to him about getting the corners situated. We got to be prepared. We got to play pass first.
Yeah, that was our first. We had our first interception in that game. We actually had 2, Woods and Mathis, so that was really good for the defensive backs.
Excellent job. And I think just the adversity we faced that whole week.
We know how the kids talk. Their kids are talking. You guys are nothing. You're Pinellas
I heard
Park.
it for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
And I think that kind of got under the skin. And yeah, they beat St. Pete, but we just beat Isaiah, which is a pretty good team. And our kids really felt that they started buying into the program, to what we do. And this year we were mouth football, and they're not afraid to take it to them. And I think Seminole saw us as the old Pinellas Park. We're going to score, and they're going to lay down. And this team, after Isaiah, I just think the drive in them, it's like, no, we're going to punch it right down their throat. And defense, we're going to swarm them. And we know they run weak side. We know they're solid, but we thought that we could just we could do long drives, and we contained their 2 players that they had that we thought were pretty good Pee Wee players, that we'd have a good chance. But once we got in there and Isaac started rolling, wow, and then he started getting big yards. Kayvon started ripping off big long yards, and the team, and then it's one play leads to the next, and once we got up, then the defense is playing lights out, and the offense, we're going long drive, we score again. And when we got up on them, they were another team. Like Isaiah was like stunned, like, where did this come from? This isn't the old Pinellas Park, which as coaches makes us feel good, because what we're teaching is actually getting put on the field, and now the kids are starting to believe that this is something new. This is something that, we're part of a winner now.
That's the first game for the O-line that they actually came off the field after kind of being scolded for not getting the job done early in the game, and communicated back to me, and we made adjustments where they actually could go out and block in a more effective manner to start moving the ball. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't we get our first punt return for a touchdown in this game?
Yes, we did. Special teams scored it.
We did.
I think what stands out, injuries, I think, are huge in youth football, because you don't have the depth like you do it when you get to the higher levels. And you lose your quarterback. He goes down, and we look to Mr. Earl Edens to say, you're coming back, you were number 2, we removed you after the St. Pete game, and we're going to rally around you. And it happened in the middle of the week, the injury. And Earl, we're gonna rally around you, the troops, and you're gonna be just fine. This is what we need you to do. Here's the game plan. We had an extra practice of walkthroughs to get him ready. I think the kids responded amazingly.
They did.
Around him, and he played a great game, and I was very proud of him that night. He really, he did everything we had asked him to do, and offensively for that game, I couldn't be more excited to see him do that and be able to step in there and show the kids, hey, I'm here, I'm going to do the job for you.
Yeah, but another game too, defensively, with minimal mistakes. What few mistakes we do make, even offense. We still had our false starts.
Justin Smith and Robert Roman dominated the defensive line. They were making hits in the backfield that everybody heard.
Yeah.
And aside from that, E.J. Russell was all over the field. This guy was lights out from sideline to sideline, had, I think, 12 tackles. He was not going to be stopped. I mean, that defense that night, to pitch a shutout, going for that number 2 spot, you can't ask for anything more from a defense.
Well, and knowing that they had to talk junk for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
had to send a message.
Yeah.
Not their 6th victory in a row, courtesy of the Dunedin Falcons. From the very first play, there was a catch and run for over 40 yards, which led to a touchdown in the very next play. Dunedin went 3 and out and had a punt muffed by Pinellas Park, recovered by Dunedin. The most yards gained by the Dunedin Falcons all game. They went on another 3 and out for another punt, but in this case, it was not muffed, but picked up and taken 65 yards for the score. Though the play was negated by a block in the back, the very next play spawned off a 70-yard run as Pinellas Park was accumulating multiple runs of 50, 60, and 70 yards or more throughout the game. Once another 3 and out by Dunedin sparked yet another run of 50-plus yards by Pinellas Park. Dunedin was able to gain some positive yards offensively by using a little trickery. They were able to manage one first down, but in the end, that Pinellas Park swarming defense equaled, instead of a 3 and out, a 4 and out. And yet, on the offensive side, another touchdown. Pinellas Park didn't run too many offensive plays this go around, as many of their drives happened to be one play yielding 60, 70 yards apiece, which in the end yielded a running clock for most of the game. The best strategy from Dunedin was to call a timeout during the running clock while the clock was running to prevent the game from going any further, yielding another shutout with the score 34-0.
Who are we playing today?
The Tarpon Spongers.
Spongers?
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
We're gonna drop 50 on them and win.
Are you wearing a headphone today?
I don't know. Coach Nick said he is ordering one, but I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
All right. Are you going to make any calls at all during the game?
Probably, not really calls, but I'll know the calls and probably scream at a lot of the players.
All right. All right. What's his final score?
70-0.
70-0.
Pinellas Park would not be denied that 7th victory in a row, this time at the expense of the Tarpon Spongers. And just as the week prior against Dunedin, the very first play, a catch and run of multiple yards. Tarpon tried, but just was not successful in any of them. Each offensive possession they had went back. Each defensive possession, they watched Pinellas Park score. There was nothing that they could do. There was nothing that they could say. Pinellas Park was not going to be denied. The most that Tarpon could do in regards to gaining yardage was from Pinellas Park's penalties, which availed us nothing because they could not score anyway. Even through trickery, they could not be successful. Was it the pink jerseys?
Pink out on the park, baby. You know, I think this was an idea JC, you called me up in the summer and you said, hey, let's do pink jerseys. Let's find a way to raise money and let's do something for homecoming. Let's figure out a way to do this. So we all talked and wrapped our heads around this idea. We got some pricing and we went to the parents and my coaches or parent meeting, and I said, look, we want to raise money. We want to get the kids pink jerseys for homecoming, and we've got to reach a goal of about $800. And we don't want it from your pockets, just let's get it from businesses. And I tell you what, everyone did a great job, and I can remember telling JC they're ordered. And how excited he was, getting it approved, and the build up to this game, the kids knowing they were going to get this, the festivities all week. I mean, it was exciting. It was homecoming. We're on a 6-game winning streak, going for our 7th win, knowing the race to 7 is right there to capture. You're going to get a lock in the playoffs. It's just a fun time, and to know that the kids are so excited to get these jerseys and unveil them.
It was something new that these kids weren't used to. As long as I've been in this league, Pinellas Park had Isaiah, Brian Dozier did break them out, and it was good. It was good for the kids, it's for something new. It was exciting, and that's what we want. When we changed the culture over here, we wanted to do something new, something that they could be proud of, and that they would remember. And I'm pretty sure they're going to remember this. I mean, it's all they talked about now is the pink jerseys, And we didn't change any numbers. We kept the numbers the same. We got the okay from the board, and the board here's been great. And conference to do it, so we didn't go any back channels. But the kids' faces on homecoming, when they got to bounce and come on the field, that was something else. That was really something.
Well, speaking of their entrance to the field, that's the game that Coach Nick brought the boom.
Something in there that I'm not really going to tell anyone about till the very last minute.
I know a couple of people jumped and were going to take off. But it was a great entrance. I don't know about you guys, but when Nickelback started playing and fireworks are going off and the kids are bouncing.
I think there was 4 or 5.
As an older guy wanting to still play the game, come on, man. You wanted to take the coaching shirt off. Give me some pads. It's time to go play football. That was a great environment, great atmosphere.
Pink shirts for the coaching staff.
Which I didn't think we were going to look real good on the big fellas, but
we pulled it off. We pulled it off pretty good. But I think the most memorable thing for me is, first, Isaac, you did get the herd out a little too early. But, to see when the first one went off and they look back and the music's playing and then their eyes get about this big, and to think, whoa, we're on the big stage here in the spotlight. Those are the times when you want to be able to reward the kids for all their hard work and everything they've done. And it's homecoming, everyone's there, everyone's in pink, and it's just a fun atmosphere. I mean,
good crowd that day too.
Great crowd. The parents, the fans of Pinellas Park were phenomenal, and we wanted everyone in pink, and they answered the call.
You got your pink out.
We got our pink out. We got our 7th win. Yes, Infinite Cinema gave us a little phone call and went over the press box and said, hey guys, you're now in sole possession of first place, and the crowd went nuts.
Put it down.
So that night, we had the pink out in the park, we had our 7th win, and we got a lock for the playoffs and sole possession of first place. And for these kids to have that moment was something truly special.
It was probably the first time, though, in their football careers, and they realized everybody was here for them.
Yeah.
Not for everybody else on the exterior. Everybody was here for them. And I think that's when it set in.
You can say that.
Our varsity Kiwi team is here that can walk out on Monday and go, we're #1, damn it, and we earned it.
Game 9 for the T-Birds against Eastlake in Eastlake, featuring the battle of the same style offenses, same hard-hitting defenses on both sides of the coin. Hard runs, major runs of 10 yards or more on both sides of the ball. As Pinellas Park would have it, they would get the first score, courtesy of a field goal, to lead 3-0. Eastlake would answer with a 40-yard scrimmage of their own, which would lead on the following possession to another touchdown. The same penalties that would give yardage for Dunedin and Tarpon would happen to be the enemy of Pinellas Park this game, as drives were sustained through penalties, and Eastlake capitalized. Even on special teams, Eastlake seemed to be the mirror image of Pinellas Park, as in this time they were the aggressors in taking the ball away for onside kicks. Big plays from those running backs, they were still there. Runs of 60 yards plus were a guaranteed figure in each game. Every time Pinellas Park would respond, Eastlake would respond with a run of their own, as each drive that they had went down to the wire. After a kick return gone bad, Pinellas Park was put on the 2-yard line. What happened next was a 98-yard catch and run, being the longest play from scrimmage in the SYFC of 2012. Though Eastlake would respond with runs of their own, it would be penalty after penalty after penalty that would either sustain an Eastlake drive or stop a Pinellas Park drive. In the end, it was their demise to a 3-5 team. Lakewood Spartans at Pinellas Park's home. The showdown of playoff seeding. If Pinellas Park wins, they stay within the first place tie with 3 other teams. If they lose to Lakewood, they play them again in the first round. Just like the Jamboree, it would be power up the middle versus speed on the outside. Tension would rise throughout the game, as each side would gain significant yardage on every drive, but fall short of their end zone. Each defense would find a way to stop the other ones from scoring, with a 0-0 tie in the first half. It wasn't until the second half where Pinellas Park struck first, with big runs and completing their drive for the score. On the ensuing kickoff, that patented aggressive Pinellas Park special teams would be met by the speed of Lakewood, as they set up critical field position. Between time, there was an ejection of Pinellas Park's leading tackler and linebacker, which Lakewood was able to exploit on touchdown runs of major yardage. And in the end, that would prove to be the difference in the game, as the #1 seed going into the playoffs is now a figment of the imagination in the hands of the Lakewood Spartans.
You know, we got Phil, and Phil remembers us from last year. And he'd already said he wanted his rematch, and you know, we knew from the schedule, well, you're going to see us in week 10, and I thought we had a good game plan. You know, we knew that we could take it to Lakewood. We were going to be physical, and we just had to really play good defense. A couple things didn't go our way that night. We did still jump on a lead. We marched right down the field, put one in the end zone. I mean, it was a good, hard smash mouth game. You know, you get probably the best linebacker in the Pee Wee division is ejected. Doesn't help, and it's not to trample on it, but I mean, the next two plays they score are backside in his spot, and I can't ask anyone to fill his shoes. He's a special player, and it hurt. It hurt, but the kids kept fighting, and Lakewood was able to pull one out. And again, we knew if you win and some things go right, you go back to first place because everyone was going to be 8-2 or 7-3. Or if you lose, you immediately play them. You move all the way to 5th place, and you're playing Lakewood the following week, which is not something any coaching staff anywhere wants to do. Is just play somebody over, win or lose. It's never something you want to do.
Lakewood.
Yeah, I mean, Lakewood is a good team. They hit their 3-game losing streak, and unfortunately, they fixed it at expense of us.
Unfortunately, we hit ours.
But it was a time I think we could say is. I thought the game still was in reach, was winnable. The opportunities were there, but
we made a few mistakes on defense. Offense, we got down there, we shoot ourselves in the foot with penalties, and they made the plays, and we didn't.
We had issues on the strong side of our line too, keeping their defensive line. They did a good job. They did a good job rushing between the B and the C gap on the strong side, and 50% of the time we stonewalled it. The other 50% of the time we allowed them to make plays. So, I mean, all of it adds up.
They just made more plays than we did that night, but we were still in it. And after the loss, we knew we had to play them again the following week.
And we just said, hey guys, shake it off because you know what? It's a new season, and the playoffs start next week, and let's roll.
We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked. What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Round 1 playoffs, a rematch between Pinellas Park and Lakewood. And just as the previous week showed, Pinellas Park would strike first right up the middle, going into the end zone. Lakewood would come back in their next drive, utilizing their speed to the outside to get down the field. Patton style of smash mouth football would carry Pinellas Park all the way down the field until a turnover would give Lakewood the early edge. Penalties and turnovers would put drives to a halt as both sides would battle back and forth offensively and defensively. Lakewood will use those penalties to their advantage, as they will get into the end zone to take a 27 lead going into the second half. Lakewood, deep in their own territory, would soon return the favor to Pinellas Park, as a botched snap would give the T-Birds momentum in payday. But as time would dwindle to an end, Pinellas Park would not be able to march downfield in an efficient manner, as their season would come to an end. Final score, 20-14 Lakewood.
Go, Thunderbirds on 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, we're in the playoffs. It's where we wanted to be.
It was a goal.
That was a goal. We obtained it. We got Lakewood again. Hey, we knew this going in. We understood the consequences of game 10, and if not, not getting that win, we're going to have to see them again. Now we're going into this game. We have 2 bullets left in the barrel of fire as far as offensively. We're having to make some serious adjustments defensively.
Well, you lost your middle linebacker, broken finger.
Yep.
We still had our weak side linebacker out because of his previous issues.
Right. Sportsman.
So we
had to make some adjustments, but no excuses. Lakewood was Lakewood. We didn't really change our game plan. The only thing I really changed was we were going to go right at them. I mean, if we felt if we were going to lose this, win it or lose it, we're going to run at them doing what we do. But again, some of the kids weren't feeling well. And then we got down to, we really only had one running back. I had to move a lineman back.
Yeah.
But for Isaac's credit, I mean, everybody in the stadium knew who was getting the ball. He rushed 33 times, 156 yards. I could not ask any more from the kid. He was hurt in the first quarter, didn't complain, just did he did what the team needed him to do. Didn't complain, and as a coach, that's all we can ask for is that you give us 100%. Again, we went down and we scored on them. We went up, they came back, we came back, they came back. It was just a game that went back and forth. They again made a few more plays than we did on defense and offense. It's the games we like. As myself, I like to coach because it's like a chess match. But it's just some reason we weren't at full strength. But we fought. We came in
still a close game. I mean, still one score.
Yeah,
one score, just like the previous Lakewood game. Stayed within one score, we just didn't have that last strike in us.
Yeah, and eventually, Lakewood ended up winning the whole thing anyway. But I think they got warmed up on us. I mean, we gave them all they could handle, and
2 weeks in a row.
I think we tuned them up, is what we did.
Well, I gotta say one thing that I think stood out to me at the end of that game. We don't make excuses. We walked in with 19 players in the playoffs from a roster of 24. And that's all well and good. And those 19, those kids played their asses off. I couldn't ask anything more for them. What they did to me is the buy-in was 100% complete. They laid it out on the line. There was no one coming off, I got this, or injured. If something was hurt, I want to get right back in. Roman taped me up, put me in. Justin said, hey, we're going to ask you to run the ball. We know they're not going to expect you to get it. We give them the ball, boom, 6 yards, get a first down. Everyone's starting to do things for the team to make things happen. The line, I thought, kept fighting and pushing. I mean, there were kids that Lakewood didn't make weight all year, made it for the playoffs. Big boys, throwing them at our line. And, we have a big team. Our kids are big, and I think sometimes we forget. The majority of them are 11, or league age 11.
Right.
And the 12-year-olds, they all grew up. And I think they took the next step. And to me, as much as I hate a loss, because I hate to lose, I couldn't have been more proud of those boys for what they did, and I can't thank them enough for the effort they showed, because I must have had everyone stopping me on the way out because I was trying to get out of there.
Yeah, I know.
To tell me how proud they were to see that team keep fighting, and then they had not seen a Pinellas Park team like that fight that hard from a Pee Wee division in a long period of time. I was very proud. I mean, the kids. I couldn't have been more proud of their performance. It was, to me, as we did our job. Again, it was a loss. You don't want a loss, but they did everything we asked, and they laid it on the field.
Yeah. And in hindsight, if you look week 1 to the first week of the playoffs, 2 completely, totally different teams. I mean, they had a chance, like in the first game, to revert back to holy crap and let the other team run away with it. And in neither one of the Lakewood games was there any give up. It was push, push, push. There's always a chance. The ball's pointy at both ends and round for a middle. Round in the middle for a reason.
I mean, you guys should be proud of yourselves. Raise your hand if you've ever made it to the playoffs before this year. How many?
On varsity.
Not you guys.
On varsity. On varsity. On varsity.
I could count all the play. Yeah, on varsity. Varsity. I could 3. How does it feel to go to the playoffs, guys? Feel good? We left some things on the field. It was okay. You guys got to get ready for next year, right? Good learning last year. You guys had a fun year, 7-3. One of the best records most of you have ever had, right?
But remember the season. Because guess what? As the assistant AD and the AD and the president and the board, we are proud of this team. And that's what you were, a team. You guys worked hard all year. You held the #1 spot for a couple weeks. You guys showed that there's nobody walking over you. And I'm proud of that. I seen some men grow up today in this field. I seen Isaac come out the field, run like a man. I seen Mr. Roman, his hands hurt me. He said, take me up, put me back in. I'm proud of you guys because you kept fighting, you kept fighting. Guess what? There's no shame in losing. It sucks, but there's no shame in it if you left it all on the field. And that's where I'm proud of you guys. For the ones that did it, very proud of you. Give yourself a hand.
Well, we're going back to a Turkey Bowl we won in 2010. I like the layout. We're playing all new teams. All Tampa teams. Northeast is in there, but we'll only play them if it gets in the final because we've already seen them. They like to keep it all new. I'm excited. I think the kids, they want one last hurrah. I want one last hurrah with them before we move on to 2013. I think it's a great way to close out 2012.
I think now that certain linebackers are back, I think we're going to enjoy this Turkey Bowl. We still miss Liam, obviously, not quite back, but we added one of the JV players.
Malik and Jackie Bowski, so 2.
So 2. Well, I was basically talking on my line, but I think we look good. I think we look good going in. I like our chances. We just gotta take another step.
Yeah, it would be a nice goal to get double-digit wins and
bring a trophy back to
and bring a trophy back. That would be a nice icing on the cake for this season. And like you said, for our program now, for the kids coming in, they understand now that we expect to win. That the bar's been set. They can go higher, and we're expecting more. But the groundwork's been laid, and this team has nothing bad to look on. I mean, the leaps and bounds that this team has improved is drastic. Because I guarantee nobody at the beginning of the season thought Pinellas Park was going to make the playoffs. And we made it, and we reached some of our goals. We didn't reach all of our goals, but now in the Turkey Bowl, we had a chance to win the Turkey Bowl. So there's
New
6
season.
other teams, new season, and we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. I think we got a good shot.
I think we had a really good shot.
The Turkey Bowl was an overall success, showing that the tenacity of those T-Birds did not wither a bit after 4 weeks of inactivity. 2 of the 3 games played in the same day were blowout victories. All 3 games possess a backfield with at least 2 backs over 100 yards, and that's under 10 carries. For this Turkey Bowl trip was the final reminder that Pinellas Park was not considered the typical walk in the park as years past with service. Now, Respect has been earned and will continue to grow.
Twenty twelve.
2012.
It was amazing.
It started off really in January because I was still in my I'm off season mode, and don't bother me in the off season. And all of a sudden I get an interesting phone call. Hey, these people want to talk to you. We need to sit down and go to breakfast. Just come over, drive over, and we sit down. I'm like, well, who wants to talk? Pinellas Park. What? Pinellas Park. Didn't we do 30 on them in the half last year? And, Nick, let's just go talk to them. And we sat down with Jeff and Keith, and we talked to them. And we listened to what they had to say. And I could tell I was getting energized about being back at the varsity level where, I think we are where we should be. And I can't thank the board for entrusting us with the varsity Pee-wees, at Pinellas Park. And they really gave us everything we asked for, and I can't say thank you enough to them.
But really, when we came in, when we got together, our first goal is we want a winning record, and we want to make the playoffs, and we did that.
Great season. I really liked it, and hope to do it next year.
My offensive line, from the beginning to the end, night and day.
Like I said earlier, going from that St. Pete game early, basically getting shelled, to bring it back in short order.
Totally. After the first game, I know I was going to the gym. I was like, man, what did we get into? Because this is not what we're used to.
To actually going on a long winning streak, and then when towards the end of the season things piled up a little bit, things started going bad.
But it became a team. And that's what we preach from day one, is it's about the team. It's not about an individual. One guy goes down, the next guy goes up. That's the way it is. But
nobody gave up. Everybody still fought hard, still striving to be the best that they could be. And
to the parents, you guys were phenomenal. You guys, everyone pitched in, everyone helped one another, helped the team, helped the boys, and supported them all. And that's what you want.
Had a couple of favorites, my defensive backs and wide receivers.
I had a blast. Offensive line all year. I had some guys had to cut a lot of weight early, from the camp going in, and some of them it took till week 4. But those kids blossomed, and they really learned how to play their position. And
I'm an offensive guy. It's nice to brag a little bit. I had 2 running backs over 1,000 yards, which is pretty sweet. We had a quarterback, we lost a quarterback, we had to regain the quarterback.
We picked up some new guys on the staff, Scott and Jeff. They did a good job. They came on board. They immediately assimilated themselves to the program and how we do things. Warren, for your first job with us, you did a fantastic job. I couldn't have been more proud of you. I really wanted to let you have the wide receivers and defensive backs and kind of lose the reins on those, and you exceeded everything I could have ever wanted from you on that. And you two, JC, Jim, we're family. It's the 3 of us. We've been in a lot of battles together, a lot of war rooms, a lot of film breakdown. You guys, I can't do this without you guys, and you make it fun for me. I feed off of you guys.
I like coaching. The kids were great.
From beginning to end, just to watch the growth and the kids learn a system, learn how they fit in a system, and basically learn how to be a family and take care of one another and work together for a common goal.
But again, they remembered it's a team. It's not about one person. And as long as they remember that from here on out, they'll be successful. And I'm very proud.
You guys, you made us work, and you made us coach, and I can't thank you enough. You listened to us, you showed up to practice. For the most part, everyone always showed up to practice, and as a head coach in youth football, that's hard to find these days when you get 90% attendance throughout the season. I can't stress it enough how proud I am of each and every one of you for what you did You bent over backwards for us. I know we're very eccentric. We're very demanding. We're nuts. But we love this game. We truly love it. And to see you guys play it at the end of your season as you love it is all we can ask for. And it was a great 2012, but 2013 is around the corner, and it's unfinished business.
What you gonna bring to the table tonight? Give it to me, and I'ma give it to you. Nice Jason Garrett. Looks like we got a touchdown coming in.
Ball's loose. Ball is loose. T-Birds recover. First up. Ball ground.
Welcome to Exit 13. I am your host, You said I was finished and Father Time was to blame. You disrespected my legacy and you wrote on my name. Told DJs he's over, he ain't spitting the same. What he says is irrelevant, hip-hop culture has changed. When I walk in the room, young boys look at me strange, as if I am a relic from some long-forgotten game. It makes my blood boil, turns my eyes to flames. I built an empire, they tried to kick me out in the rain. So I call on an inner power, it's hard to explain. It's like the Holy Spirit utilizing hip-hop slang. I'm beyond the gold grills and logos on chains. You see, I changed rap forever, I elevated the game. Launched the greatest label in the history of rap. And for 24 years, I carried it on my back. I always shine brighter when I'm under attack. I'm down for a moment, but I always go back. It's time to war. 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 It's a resurrection. I'm back from the dead. They told me quit a long time ago, but I conquered instead. I had dreams and visions swirling around in my head. I had this hunger deep inside of me that had to be fed. Hip-hop flowing back all of the blood that I shed. I have a covenant with God. I have swallowed the bread. Hip-hop, my whole offended with this mic I beware. I made an entire generation obey what we said. I'm taking France to Germany, from Italy to Japan, from London to Belgium to Afghanistan. From Paulus from the back, smoking a blunt with my man. They're writing rhymes on an iron board to build Def Jam. See, I'm the undisputed king of all hip-hop. Everything after is my legacy, like it or not. And I will keep making history, I just can't stop. LL2J, eternally. It's time for war. It's time for war. It's time for war. It's time for war. Switch the style around. Competition losing their footing. I see them falling down. Never got against me. It kills them because I'm balling now. Some of y'all didn't get up the phone, but I got you calling now. This is a job that must get done. Even if I'm a
The ball is loose. The ball was loose and T-Birds have it.
I got a fist full of whiskey, the money just been me.
in yardage. Lots and lots to go.
Voices in the air, I hear them loud and clear, telling me to listen.
Push up.
Whispers in my
Oh, he
ear,
breaks up.
nothing
He
makes
breaks up. Can he
clear.
go?
Just
Oh,
wanna
Bulldog says no, no, no.
As my world turns, the heartbeat, not only in my chest, but the heart in the street. So when they feel this, they feel me. But I can't feel nothing outside these great beats. Came from the city of evil, came from the bottom, standing on top of what's supposed to be my confident son. Inception shows me as a dead man walking, but reflection shows this kid still got it. Let it be known I got the throne like I don't know that there's a king. Never grew up around a family cause I'm not a human being. And anyone in the mother that's coming in my spot for the top, let them have it cause when I leave the whole world drops. Lace up, Carol.
Voices in the air, I hear it loud and clear, telling me to listen. Whispers in my ear, nothing can compare. I just want to listen, telling me I'm in trouble, in trouble, in trouble. Telling me I'm in trouble, in
Waking up sweating from the stress of being caged down. Everything I write is played out. Like what is this? Tear the whole page out. Man, I come from holes in the wall, but they don't know the past. Even if I told them it all, they wouldn't know the half. So maybe I fill up my luggage with all of these dreams. I put on a black coat and my black chucks and nothing in my jeans and just run to the day calm like Rocky's movie scene. Like I'm on top of the world, look up and scream like this is me, this is Kel. Crucified by the public without the nails. Do or die in my city, but clearly I never fail. Lost myself in the game when I found myself in the cell. Then I found myself in the fame when I lost myself in the pain. They cannot mess with me still. Seen them boys and they waiting. Underdogs of the year, Cleveland boys in the building. What the fuck is the ceiling? I'm taking this to the top. And when I leave, the whole world drop. Lace up, Kel.
Voices in the air, hear it loud and clear, telling me to listen. Whispers in my ear, nothing can compare. I just want to listen, telling me I'm in trouble, in trouble, in trouble. Tell me I'm in trouble, in trouble, in trouble. I am.
Last play of regulation. Tracks into the end zone. Caught. Michigan State's caught it on a rebound. Touchdown, Michigan! And exploding into the middle is Black Mamba.
room. The 15 breaks a tackle, touchdown, Wisconsin. Strikes again.
in the white, got your girl quick, fix it, need a light shine. You know I don't really want it, I can tell just by looking at you that you deserve to run and go and tell just by looking at you. You on a mission for recognition by dissing. Didn't have no problem till the record started flipping, but I don't really want it. So let me tell you the deal, I'm on so serious, I'm gritty, I'm no longer for real. I'm like a hop, skip and jump, grip on the pump, from leaving you in the trunk. So what we put up the pump, but I don't really want it. So acting like we dead, I'm looking to my mind, trying to see who's next. So you better watch it before I speak to the plan and be the next artist to run up in your stand. Like,
Pitch, right side, number 22, fouls up and picks it up, shot out of a gun. And he's going to get into that. He has the win, touchdown!
Either go off memory or go off DVD. Infinite cinema.